Good day, everybody. This is Ying Yang in California with Morsels of a Thought number 1893. We're headed toward the 1900th one very soon. Next Monday, actually. It will be with the prosperity approach as well. We're reading from Allyson Chavez's #1 best-selling book, The Prosperity Approach, the simple formula to ultimate prosperity. It's a great book. She's got so much wisdom in it. Okay, I'm going to read from page 94, which was where we stopped last week. And it said that it wanted to give you an example. Your conscious mind might think that having money is a good thing, but most of us have subconscious programming that doesn't agree with that. So, if we say wealth affirmations, we usually feel like we're lying or we feel guilty for wanting money. Hold on a second, let me move it around. It also makes us sabotage ourselves anytime we set a new money goal or are close to achieving that money goal. We'll flub up interviews, not even apply for promotions or jobs, even give money away or spend it on frivolous things, all in an effort to get it out of our experience. Marilyn Jeanette, Jenett, says in her book, Feel Free to Prosper, quote, in order to manifest our desire, the conscious and subconscious minds must agree on the idea, end quote. In order to do this, says Allyson Chavez, we must influence the subconscious mind. That means those new thoughts you can think in your conscious mind about prosperity and your ability to build it must pass through the filter into your subconscious mind, because that's what runs the show. However, our subconscious is quite crafty. After all, its job is to keep you alive and safe, and so far so good. No matter how miserable you've been, you're still alive, right? The subconscious doesn't want to change any aspect of that. It has no idea how safe you'll be if you live the life of your dreams because you've never done it before. So, we've got to be crafty in influencing the subconscious. We've got to be subtle and use what Marilyn calls friendly persuasion. In order for the new belief or idea about life to be able to pass through the filter, you must allow it to remain as a dominant thought in your conscious mind until it's accepted on an emotional level. It's important to know that there are two factors that determine programs that run in subconscious. Number one, repetitive thoughts. Number two, thoughts that are charged with emotion. Emotions are what put new programming into the subconscious mind. So Ralph Waldo Emerson, here's a quote, said, man becomes what he thinks about all day long. End quote. Your prosperity is directly proportional to the intensity of your emotions surrounding it. Remember, the subconscious is the center for your emotions, so they play a starring role in your prosperous life. Emotions are part of you, though you are not your emotions. You are above them because emotions are effects, not causes. Every single emotion can be traced back to a thought. I remember sitting in my office one day, feeling discouraged and depressed, but remembering that emotions are effects. I started tracing the emotion back to what I had been thinking about. I'd been thinking about how hard life felt, how nothing was working, and how I wanted to give up. And the scary part, is I wasn't even consciously aware that I was thinking such negative thoughts until I traced them from my emotions. No wonder I felt discouraged and depressed. But the thoughts didn't come because of the emotions. The emotions came directly from my thoughts. Thoughts cause emotions. Emotions do not cause thoughts. Hmm. So if you write the above two sentences down 3 times and say it out loud, thoughts cause emotions. Emotions do not cause thoughts. And a third time, thoughts cause emotions. Emotions do not cause thoughts. Emotions are powerful indicators of where you're vibrating at any given moment. Use them the way they were intended to keep you consciously aware of your inner frequency and to shift it up when necessary. If we want different results, we must change the cause. Emotions can be tricky little things, though. Have you ever had a hard time, quote, feeling, end quote, excited about your dream, especially because it seems so far away? I know this was a real stumbling block for me for a very long time. Anytime I'd say an affirmation or try to visualize the future of my dreams, I'd think to myself, ugh, now it's time to conjure up some enthusiasm and picture myself there. Sound familiar? If that's you right now, take heart. Remember, one of the factors is repeating thoughts often or using repetition. Start there. It will take longer to reach your subconscious because it has to be accepted emotionally before it's lodged in your subconscious. But what is a belief? A belief is a thought we've thought so many times we accept it as the truth. Say a thought often enough, and eventually you'll believe it's true. It's even okay if you feel like you're lying to yourself at first. It's all right. Our minds lie to us all day long. We make up stories about things that just aren't true all the time. And usually those stories don't support us in going after our dreams. So, as Leslie Householder likes to say, quote, if you're going to lie to yourself anyway, you might as well lie constructively, end quote. If you want different results, you must change the cause. Oh, goodness. Thoughts that are repeated often and that are charged with emotion control your results. So instead of working more hours or getting yet another part time job, get to work on your mind and watch things change. The honesty check. How much thought are you giving to your current circumstances? Are those thoughts positive or negative? How much emotion accompany those thoughts? What are the emotions that follow your dominant thoughts about your current circumstances? Jot it down here. See if this silent conversation sounds familiar to you. Oh, crap. I forgot that bill was coming out of the account today, and now I'm overdrawn again. Of course. Why is this always happening to me? And now I have to pay more money that I don't have. I am so tired of being broke all the time. This is such a hassle. I am done living life this way. I don't want this to happen again. I wish I wasn't poor. I can't tell you how many times I had monologues in my mind when that would happen. My stomach would drop to my knees. I'd be filled with resentment toward everyone. But when you do that, this what you're effectively saying to your subconscious and the universe. This is the way I want my life to be because I am so passionate about it. Why is that? You're declaring what you don't want. You're being very clear about what you want to have stopped. However, Your subconscious and the universe don't recognize or understand words of negation like don't, wish it wasn't, etc. All your subconscious knows is that you've thought this thought a lot and it is supercharged with emotion. So it takes an instruction and moves to so it takes it as an instruction and moves to fulfill it. So change it. Get passionate about what you want. Picture what you want and deal with the unpleasant things in your current circumstances with the least amount of emotion possible. They still need to be dealt with. I don't recommend hiding the utility bill and pretending it never came. If you can't pay it, call them up and tell them you can't and ask them to work with you. Stay in your integrity, but deal with it in a matter-of-fact way rather than getting upset by it. Okay. How to reprogram your self-conscious. Oh, God dang. How to reprogram your subconscious, but done in game form. Yeah, I licked this. When you find yourself spinning in dark emotions, it's crucial to pivot out of that as quickly as possible. I won't use it. It'll be alcohol. We've got to get you on the same frequency as your dream if you're going to get your dream. And we've got to do it often, which means we get to practice. But I also know how compelling that physical evidence can be, and that sometimes we'll get caught up in the emotion of it all. When that happens, play the pivot game, capital P, pivot game. When you're experiencing drama, you're in your story. We give meaning to everything that happens to us. Most of the time, that meaning is not supportive of what we want. Playing the pivot game is essential when you're in your story, and that is also the hardest time to do it, but I know you can. Here's how it works. Whenever you're feeling a negative emotion, get into conscious awareness of it, but from an angle of curiosity. You could say to yourself, this came up for a reason, and this is very interesting. What is it I want? After answering that question, simply turn your attention to what it is you want. Your mind will tempt you to replay the situation that caused the negative emotion, but hold firm and simply ask yourself again what you want. Pivot toward the feeling you want to feel and choose the thoughts that support that feeling. The moment you stop putting attention on the negative emotion, it stops the attraction of that emotion and begins the attraction of a positive emotion. Keep pivoting to the positive emotion. Refuse to dive back down the rabbit hole of negativity. You'll find yourself circling around it for sure, but do not look in it or go down it. Don't talk to anyone else about the negative situation because this pivots your attention back on what you don't want and pumps more energy into it to it. That will be the hardest thing to do, not recruiting others to be on your side. But stay diligent, and before too long, you'll find that you've pivoted far enough into a positive emotion that you can look at the situation without anything other than objective curiosity. And then you can solve the problem from there if it still needs to be solved. I have to do something here. Yeah, I see it now. Okay. Oh, this will take some practice. Depending on how caught up you get in your story, at first you might find yourself spending a lot of time trying to pivot from something. It's well worth the effort though. Allow me to illustrate what this looked like for me. I once got an email from a client who wanted to terminate her contract. Her email was filled with accusations that were unfounded, untrue, and surprisingly hurtful to me. I found myself immediately get defensive and want to respond in kind. This was the perfect opportunity to pivot. The first thing I did was close out the email and physically walk out of my office to put some distance between myself and the situation. Pivot. I wanted nothing more than to text my husband what had happened, but I didn't. Pivot? Didn't. That's a pivot. My next thought was to call a colleague and tell her all about it, but then again, I didn't. Pivot. Instead, I asked myself what I wanted to feel and commanded myself to follow that thought. That's a pivot. I thought about what needed to be done that day. That's a pivot. And made plans for the next thing on my list. I refused to give the situation any energy by thinking about it. Pivot. Even though that's the only thing I wanted to focus on. I distracted my mind with uplifting music. Pivot. And forced myself to focus on something else. Pivot. I remember commanding myself to pivot away from the negativity. In my mind, I saw that giant black rabbit hole, and I was circling around it, debating whether or not to jump down into it. I kept asking myself what I wanted to feel instead, and shifted the energy into the better feeling thought. It took about an hour, but I successfully managed to pivot away from that situation and have a productive day. It was several hours later, after checking in on my emotions around the situation and discovering that they were more neutral than charged, that I allowed myself to answer her email. And it was respectful, professional, and detached. The situation resolved itself without further drama. That's the power of pivoting. Notice that I didn't go into denial about it and tell myself to just forget about it, nor did I reflexively dive headlong into it. In the moment of drama, I had to pivot from it so I could disconnect from the negative emotion it caused. Then, later, after I'd connected to a positive thought and there was no more charge or virtually no charge in my emotions concerning the issue, I allowed myself back into the situation where I could be emotionally detached and handle everything quickly from there. As you practice, you'll actually feel the shift in your mind and your body as you go from tense, uptight, and triggered to calm, collected, and neutral. It's a very powerful experience and entirely within your control. 5 words that will change your life. Before we close out this chapter, I want to share with you the 5 words that will change your life because they will instantly begin changing your subconscious programs in a way that's really easy to feel emotional about. These words incorporate visualization with emotion, which are the two ingredients necessary for manifestation. Wouldn't it be nice if, quote unquote, wouldn't it be nice if? Why is this question so powerful? Because it instantly gets the conscious and subconscious to agree, which is one of the rules to subconscious reprogramming. Saying an affirmation like, I am wealthy, immediately starts an argument in your mind, doesn't it? But to say, wouldn't it be nice if I were wealthy? Immediately gets your two minds in agreement. They'll say, yeah, it would be awesome. Next, take a step further and ask yourself, okay, what would it look like if I was wealthy? What would I do with my day? Where would I work? What would I eat? Where would I live? Wow, wouldn't that be nice? Then ask yourself, how would it feel if I were wealthy? What would that feel like? I'd feel fulfilled. I'd feel victorious. I'd feel a huge sense of accomplishment at what I'd achieved, and I'd feel completely successful. Notice I didn't say I'd feel awesome, and leave it at that. Use words that convey emotion, not just adjectives. Sense of accomplishment, completely successful. Okay, a word of caution before leaving this chapter. Do not be deceived by the simplicity of these two techniques. They're simple by design so that you'll do them, but many times we'll sabotage ourselves by saying, oh, that's all it is? That's so simple. I'll do it later. And then we never do it. So, to jumpstart you on the Wouldn't It Be Nice game, try playing it right now. And then Einstein has a quote here: when the solution is simple, God is answering. Wouldn't it be nice if, and then dot, dot, dot. Wow, what would that look like? Oh, what do you think it will feel like? See? Isn't that easy and fun? I play this game several times every day. I play it in the shower, when I'm getting ready in the morning, when I'm driving in the car, or waiting in traffic. We even play it as a family around the dinner table every night. This game right here has the power to change every part of your life. So play it. Wouldn't it be nice if? 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 And how would I feel if? How would I feel if? How would I feel if? What would it look like if? What first was wouldn't it be nice if? Wouldn't it be nice if? And the second one was, okay, what would it look like if? Oh, what would it look like if? Okay, what would it look like if? And then ask yourself, how would it feel if? How would it feel if? That's kind of cool. So, next week we will read chapter 6, which will be physical, the third pillar of prosperity. Thomas Aquinas has a quote here: the things that we love tell us what we are. Cats. I love my, feline friends and my real friends too. And it's really nice to be loved. What would it feel like if? And you go, wow, it would feel wonderful. It would feel like my heart was in the right place. It would feel like I was relaxed and uh, self assured. Okay, old, old Kinderhook.